So Games Workshop has changed, has dropped its long-standing, iconic yellow 1980s logo. And I have to say, even for GW, this surprises me. There's certain things that should not surprise you or me or anybody regarding Games Workshop, like shutting down content creators, basically trying to cash in on FOMO, limited releases, and all that stuff. We all understand their business model. Yet at the same time, we love their game. We love that 40K. But a marketing move in terms of changing the logo, what does that signify? Now, at first glance, what I understand of marketing is you spend all this time on a logo, on a phrase, on a singular point, and then you condense all of the feeling. You collapse all of the years through the warp into that logo, into that moment. So when someone sees that in a store or on a box or playing a game, you associate all of the advertising, all of the feeling, all of the good times with that logo. It's like a glyph that generates power more and more over the years. And how old is 40K? Or I should say Games Workshop, 40 years, 50 years, something like that. Pretty significant. Changing a logo resets all of that. And at first glance, why would you do that? But then I think about the next 50 years for Games Workshop, the target audience. I believe, and I don't mean this in a negative way, those of us that remember that logo and respond to that logo or understand that logo, we're not the target audience. We haven't been the target audience of GW for 20 years. I mean, we're still doing this 40K thing. We're still playing. But it's not even the next generation or the younger generation. It's an entirely new generation upon that Games Workshop is dealing with a lot of pressure from different areas. Not only role-playing games and other tabletop games, but other media-based games. It's one thing to purchase a really good gaming system or gaming computer and sink that in, and then you're pretty set for a while, and maybe you have a subscription that you pay and play, but you're good. To try and convince someone to say, look, you're going to essentially buy 2 or 3 gaming rigs a year, and before you can utilize it, you've got to build it, you got to paint it, and then you're not set because we're constantly changing the rules. That's a whole nother marketing area. That's a whole nother kind of buy-in. And I think Games Workshop is realizing more and more it's not the pressure from other games. The fact that X-Wing Miniatures is dead and buried, that, to sidebar for a moment, that was the only competition to GW back in the day. That's the only thing that I saw gave them a real cause for pause. And I'm convinced shortened the codex and book life cycle to where they were being released more and more. X-Wing Miniatures, you saw it when it was released. Number 5 on the list, number 4. 40K was always number 1. Then X-Wing Miniatures 2, X-Wing Miniatures number 1. And then, of course, Fantasy Flight getting shut down and it getting essentially nullified and removed. I think that showed Games Workshop, hey, there's threat from other games, but now it's a completely different playing field with X-Wing Miniatures gone. And this was, 5, 6 years ago? I think it was 2018, 2019 that X-Wing Miniatures imploded from 1.0 to 2.0. It's an entirely different gaming ecosystem where Games Workshop has defeated everybody. It's like the Siege of Terra. They're just there. They've defeated everybody in the smoking ruins of the Eternity Gate. But the Horus Heresy has not ended. There's external threats from other types of digital and multimedia gaming. So I think a logo refresh, a rebrand that connects with that, I can understand why they're doing it. The new logo or not, is it worth probably the $200,000 that they paid for that? That's a matter of opinion. But it's interesting to see. Games Workshop rarely switches or changes things up. For whatever reason, it takes a seismic event in order to change things. And for those of you new to 40K or kind of this current generation of 40K players, what we see here from the veterans, Space Marines used to be called Space Marines. And then Games Workshop tried to sue an author unrelated sci-fi for saying Space Marines. And Games Workshop sued a lot of people or threatened them saying, you can't use Space Marines because we own Space Marines. And that got overturned. And of course, that's when they removed all of the names from the different armies and factions in 40K and gave them specific names so they could trademark, copyright, and protect those, which I get. But the seismic shift that was required to do that was massive. So I got to dig deeper. But what is this shift seismically that Games Workshop is changing their logo, and what does that mean?